The Picture of Dorian America. This is taken from the title of the book by Oscar Wilde, The Picture of Dorian Gray. It was a gorgeous portrait of the young republic as described by the new leaders in the late 18th century. It had a wide smile, flashing teeth, bright steely blue eyes. The posture was erect, head held high. It was dressed in a proud light blue uniform coat, its long rifle beside it. It was a picture of Dorian America, exhibited by one of the new powerful landowners, an early member of the burgeoning class of money, ownership, and power in this fledgling continent. Years passed, the seasons turned, the rivers flooded, and horse-drawn carts crossed small bridges in the hills, with oil lamps shining into the night through rough-hewn windows in scores of villages. The Indians, the aborigines of the new continent, were a shadowy people, lurking in the night, watching the new world being formed. Wagon trains each spring traveled west, wresting more land, forests, and plains from Indian tribes. Each year's Thanksgiving was the occasion to visit this Dorian portrait, to enable all to keep the beauty of the country's birth in view, to renew their revolutionary spirit, and to look forward into the rising future. Only great leaders of the growing commerce were included in the viewing of the forebear Dorian. But, well, am I imagining it? But is the mouth beginning to curl into a twisted corner on the left side? I will watch for this, remember, to see if it is true. A twist? So early in the history of the country? I notice others looking startled as they stare into that face of Dorian, our forefather. So, days and weeks passed and became months, and merchants talked with each other amiably in front of their stores, and the railroad was pushed through the poor neighborhood by the creek, and runaway slaves were slipping through town at night, heading north, and once in a while one was lynched, but not very often, and the weekly town newspaper kept quiet about it. In the hills of Kentucky and West Virginia, coal mines were sunk, but casualties were high, and they found out about carbon monoxide and how canaries help. But on August 23rd, a hot day, there was a mine explosion and 86 workers were buried, and it left the families destitute because even when the miners were working, their families were in poverty. And the city or the state or the government didn't help because it was a free country, and many could not afford school clothes or shoes for their children, and they had to have the kids work, picking cotton or tobacco to help pay the bills. Through it all, politicians and preachers praised the Lord in the wonderful new free country, and they decided to look at the Dorian America picture more. And they decided on the 4th of July, Washington's birthday, and Labor Day, in addition to Thanksgiving. When the 4th of July arrived, they gathered at the room where the picture was. As they walked in the dim light, the face gleamed with light brown light, but the teeth, they were longer, protruding more, and wrinkles, small ones around the eyes, the hair and the elbows, eyebrows needing trimming. The whole group seemed stunned and stood in silence. How could their America look like this? What pact with Satan had someone made? What? The Baptist preacher and the mayor looked at each other. Neither spoke. Then the mayor turned away, and outside he took a deep breath and reminded the others about the parade that afternoon, 1 o'clock, and be in front of their stores to greet people. It was an important day to celebrate their growth and their promising future. Nothing was said that day about the picture of Dorian America. And so, great events came and went. The Civil War, when the theft of Africans from their continent to be free labor for this new paradise democracy, the United States of America, and slavery was abolished. But Negroes, African, blacks, were still being assaulted in every way, cheated, not able to be citizens, to vote, to live in decent housing. But this was never very important in this terrific new country because it was almost never talked about in the newspapers or schools or universities or churches. It was a good place. Towns often said some of their best friends were niggers. And lynchings, if a young black happened to glance at a white woman and this was noticed, he might be hanged for rape. Then depressions came, financial panics, but the country always recovered. Eventually, now there were 4 visits to the Dorian America pictures, but every time it was different, some more disturbing, more deformed. This one time the hair was a gray-green, the clothing was torn, front tooth was chipped, it looked like blood on the shirt, the eyes did not shine and were cloudy. Few important people in the town went anymore to see the picture of Dorian America because it was haunting. They were frightened by the changes they saw. It was black magic. Wars came and went, and veterans were an important part of the population, especially on the 4th of July and the Armistice Day parade celebrating the end of World War I. Then the Depression of the 1930s, the abject despair after the euphoria of the 20s, families going west in ramshackle old cars, some mattresses and suitcases strapped on the side. Then Roosevelt and his work programs, farm help programs, but these faded after a time. Then everything was rescued by World War II. Rescued by World War II. In this war, the countries of Europe tore each other to shreds, with the United States relatively untouched, and so could dictate much and was always disguised as to the real intent. The Marshall Plan, yes, the Marshall Plan.